Time by Carrie Chris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News. The business news headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Jamaica secures billions, SLP election victory and Europe's stablecoin. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Tuesday, December 2, 2025. I'm Rondine Williams. Thanks for joining us. Coming up in the newscast, locally, Jamaica secures US $6.7 billion in international support over the next 3 years to drive Hurricane Melissa recovery. On the regional front, the St. Lucia Labour Party's election victory sets the stage for immediate bonus payouts and a national VAT-free day, signaling an aggressive economic start. And over on the global stage, 10 of Europe's largest banks joined forces to launch a euro-backed stablecoin. Stay tuned as we unpack these stories and more right after this break.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
Serious about building Jamaica? Build with solid PVC pipes and conduits, manufactured in Jamaica by Phosphate, made to the highest standard. Solid PVC pipes and conduits are made in Jamaica by Jamaicans for Jamaicans. Available at hardware stores across the island. Take some solid advice, support our economy, and build well. Buy solid PVC pipes. Next time, ask for solid brand PVC pipes and conduits. Call our distributors or Phosphate at 876-937-5099.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
The local news is brought to you by Derriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with the Jamaica landing its largest disaster recovery financing package in history. Jamaica's post-Melissa rebuilding efforts have taken a massive leap forward, with 5 of the world's biggest development institutions banding together to deliver up to US $6.7 billion over the next 3 years. This marks the country's largest coordinated financing package ever assembled for disaster recovery. CAF, the CDB, the IDB Group, the IMF, and the World Bank Group unveiled the deal on Monday in Washington, signaling unprecedented confidence in Jamaica's fiscal discipline and its long-term reconstruction blueprint. The package blends sovereign loans, emergency instruments, grants, and private sector capital, giving the Holness administration the deepest pool of recovery financing seen in the Caribbean. At the front of the response, Jamaica's disaster risk financing system kicked in immediately after Hurricane Melissa, unlocking US $662 million in rapid liquidity from sources like CRIF payout, the World Bank Catastrophe Bond, and IDB contingent credit line. The early shock absorber helped stabilize cash flow at a moment when damages exceeded US $8.8 billion. But the real horsepower lies in what comes next. The multilaterals have lined up US $3.6 billion in sovereign financing to rebuild national infrastructure, restore critical services, and harden Jamaica's economy for future climate shocks. That includes up to US $1 billion each from CAF, the IDB, and the World Bank, plus US $450 million in potential IMF RFI support and US $200 million from the CDB. Perhaps the most pivotal element and the one that could redefine Jamaica's investment landscape is the private sector component. The IFC, MIGA, IDB Invest are preparing to mobilize US $2.4 billion in private capital, designed to crowd in investors for resilient infrastructure, telecoms, energy, logistic, and reconstruction ventures. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is warning that the next stage of Jamaica's Melissa response will depend on cash access, connectivity, and the rapid reopening of commerce. Speaking during the Scientific Research Council's Conversation in Science Forum recently, Dr. Paris Loualie Jr. says one of the most urgent tasks is restoring financial access in hard-hit areas. However, he says cash movement remains a logistic challenge.
You know, even as we move into this post-relief, pre-recovery phase, the private sector is working very closely with the international relief partners, ODPEM, etc., in mobilizing the cash distribution that you're going to begin to see in a few days' time. And in part of that, we're going to have to be able to get cash to areas that would be able to provide cash to beneficiaries in the affected areas. Now, to do that, you're going to have to figure out how you get the beryllium trucks there. The movement is that's the first thing.
He says the next phase of recovery isn't just about supplies. It's about rebuilding the basic system that allows businesses to function.
The second thing, as we move away from direct relief provisioning of food items to people in the affected areas, you reopen the shops so that they can buy food at the shop that's going to be reopened. Now we need to make sure that they are open. Yes, yes. And why are they not open? And that's one of the things I'm keep looking at my phone right here is because people are attacking me right now in terms of getting stuff open. But we have to have generator, Starlink, because not only is it food and food and water that they need. We know remittances, banks and ATMs, cash points are going to be very important. And again, in terms of how these places have to operate.
That was PSOJ Vice President Dr. Paris Loualie Jr. Now the news. Jamaica's tourism engine just fired back to life. Negril will officially reopen on December 15 with the Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett declaring the resort town ready for business after a blisteringly fast recovery from Hurricane Melissa. What's driving the rebound? People, partnership, and investor confidence, and all three are showing up in numbers. From boutique hotels to major resorts, operators told the minister that staff and communities rallied instantly, cleaning, repairing, and reopening properties far ahead of schedule. At Tenzin Pen, nearly 100 residents showed up the day after the storm to restore the hotel. The boutique resort now expects occupancy above 80% early in the winter season. At Chaka Ocean Outpost, workers who suffered personal loss still reported for duty to rebuild the attraction. The emotional bond between Negril and its visitors is also resurfacing. A repeat guest's 8th grade daughter, Gabby Nichols, raised US $7,500 via GoFundMe to support hospitality workers. And we move now to the latest updates from the JSE Equities. In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 100 stocks, of which 39 advanced, 49 declined, and 12 traded firm. Leading the winners are 138 Student Living Jamaica Variable Preference, Express Catering, Berger Paints Jamaica, and Dollar Financial Services. While leading the losers are Productive Business Solution USD Ordinary Shares, MFS Capital Partners, Cygnus Real Estate Financial JMT, and General Accident Insurance Company Jamaica. Now the main index declined by 2,692 points or 0.82% to close at 313,695.01 points. The junior market index advanced by 6.62 points or 0.20% to close at 3,288.34 points.
And it's time for Market Education Feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standard.
And it's now time for our Market Education Feature, and in today's feature, we're defining the Balanced Scorecard. The Balanced Scorecard, or BSC, is a performance management framework that goes beyond financial results to evaluate how well an organization serves customers, operates internally, and prepares for long-term growth. The Balanced Scorecard gives companies a holistic view of their overall health. It helps leaders turn strategy into action, align daily activities with long-term goals, and support continuous improvement across the business. Today, the BSC is widely used by Fortune 500 companies, including Apple and Volkswagen, as well as government agencies and non-profit organizations.
The Market Education Feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for the local segment of the newscast. Please do stay with us. The regional news is up next.
The local news is brought to you by Diamond Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. Remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so Mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
Welcome back, and now for the regional business news. St. Lucia's governing St. Lucia Labour Party SLP has scored a commanding return to office, tightening its grip on political power and clearing the runway for a rapid burst of consumer and business stimulus. Official results on Tuesday confirmed the SLP has won at least 13 of the island's 17 parliamentary seats, matching its previous majority. Prime Minister-elect Philip J. Pierre also secured a resounding 57.1% of the popular vote, far ahead of Conservative rival Alan Chasney at 37.3%. But the biggest shockwave isn't political, it's economic and immediate. Fresh off the wind, Pierre told the nation he's wasting no time delivering two of the most anticipated measures on the SLP's agenda: civil service bonus payouts and a national VAT-free day.
I know that the people of St. Lucia are waiting for their VAT-free day, and the civil servants are waiting for their bonuses. I can assure them that as soon as I get sworn as Minister of Finance again, I will instruct the Permanent Secretary, the Minister of Finance, and the Secretary of Finance to get the bonus going for the civil service, for the public service of St. Lucia. So they can be rest assured that will happen. And then we'll work on the VAT-free day. These are the two promises that we made, and we intend to make them work.
That was St. Lucia's Prime Minister-elect Philip J. Pierre. Grenada has tabled an EC $1.9 million budget for 2026, anchoring the fiscal year on a surge of private sector investment and one of the region's sharpest employment turnarounds. At the heart of the plan is an EC $331 million pipeline of approved projects spanning several sectors. Finance Minister Dennis Cornwall told Parliament on Monday that more than 70 projects are now advancing through the investment system, with the government projecting close to 4,000 new jobs as these developments come on stream.
The Investment Development Corporation also delivered strong results. In 2025, the agency generated 278 investment leads, a 16.8% increase from the previous year across tourism, manufacturing, ICT, agribusinesses, and health and wellness. Of these 83 initiatives, applications were processed. 107% of the annual target, leading to 72% projects valued at $331 million. These investments are projected to generate 3,748 jobs, including 954 permanent positions.
That was Grenada's Finance Minister Dennis Cornwall. In other news, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, is taking aim at the region's US $8 million white potato import bill, with 6 member states meeting in Dominica to build a plan to grow more of the crop at home. Dominica, the only OECS country with decades of commercial potato production, is now sharing the model with St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and the British Virgin Islands. Speaking during the symposium on Monday, Acting Agriculture Minister Ghislaine Defoe says the goal is simple: keep more of that money in the OECS economies instead of sending it overseas.
White potato remains a major staple in the Eastern Caribbean, reflected in import volumes of over 8,800 tons, valued at $7.6 million in 2024. Well, we can just round it off and say 8 million. Dominica is the only country with a long-standing commercial production experience, and several OCS member states, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, have recently begun research and trial production in partnership with agencies such as CARDI, ICA, and FAO. These efforts respond to the call from OECS Ministers of Agriculture for deeper regional collaboration to expand domestic production capacity.
That was Dominica's Acting Agriculture Minister, Ghislaine Defoe. And it's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 28 securities, of which it advanced, 10 declined, and 10 traded firm. Today's winners are Prestige Holdings, One Caribbean Media, Trinidad Cement, and Massey Holdings, while leading the losers are Cinema One, National Enterprises, Unilever Caribbean, and JMMB Group. Now, trading activity resulted in the following movements. The all TNT index advanced by 6.44 points to close at 1,361.57. The composite index also advanced, but by 2.85 points to close at 943.97. The cross-listed index, however, declined by 0.15 points to close at 69.56. And the SME index also declined, but by 0.59 points to close at 95.71. We take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Me grew up and see my granny and save her money under her mattress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Your grandmother house never burned down?
No, how you reached that, so? That was a one-off thing.
That could have happened to anybody. That's why you must put your money in a financial institution and protect it.
What if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in.
What you mean?
JDIC is a financial safety net which provides coverage for your money in case your financial institution fails.
Explain that to me.
All right. Because of the JDIC deposit insurance scheme, once you put your money into a financial institution like a bank or building society, you can get coverage of up to a maximum of $1.2 million per deposit of your financial institution if it should fail. And for even more information, you can visit their new website at www.jdic.org, and you can follow the social media platforms for the latest information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Welcome back in international news. 10 of Europe's biggest banks, including ING, UniCredit, and BNP Paribas, are forming a new Amsterdam-based company, Kivalis, to launch a Euro-pegged stablecoin in the second half of 2026. This marks Europe's most coordinated push yet to counter U.S. dominance in global digital payments. Kivalis will be led by Jean-Oliver Sell, former head of Coinbase Germany, with ex-NatWest chair Howard Davies as board chair. The company plans to hire 45 to 50 staff, a third already in place. The launch comes as stablecoins dominated by US dollar tokens reshape the payment landscape. Europe's stablecoins remain tiny by comparison, with existing offerings barely reaching 64 million euros in circulation. Kivalis says its regulated bank-backed token will deliver instant, low-cost settlement, though early adoption is expected to come from crypto trading rather than everyday payments. We move from Europe's digital currency push to a much larger demographic crisis, where France is facing a long-term fiscal shock. France's public spending could surge past 60% of GDP by mid-century, levels last seen by the COVID-19 pandemic, as the country's population ages sharply and the working age cohort shrinks. By 2070, nearly 1 in 3 people in France will be over 65, while the workforce will contract by more than 3 million. Healthcare and pensions already represent over 40% of government spending, and the country's pay-as-you-go pension system is uniquely exposed to the demographic shift. Lawmakers recently suspended the retirement age reform, raising the pension age to 64, deferring the issue until after next year's election. Meanwhile, in Asia, India's aviation regulator is dealing with a major safety lapse involving the country's second-largest airline. India's DGCA has launched an investigation into Air India after the carrier operated an aircraft 8 times without a valid airworthiness review certificate and mandatory annual clearance verifying safety compliance. The case involves the Airbus A320 now grounded, with the DGCA also derostering all involved personnel. The lapse comes as Air India battles the fallout from a June Dreamliner crash that killed 260 people, financial losses tied to Pakistan's airspace ban, and repeated warnings from regulators over safety shortcomings. A recent government audit found 51 safety lapses, including inadequate pilot training and the use of unapproved stimulators. Air India says it self-reported the violation on November 26 and has suspended the employees responsible. And finally to London, where an activist investor is once again blocking consolidation in the UK's investment trust sector. U.S. activist hedge fund Saba Capital has vetoed a proposed merger between Bailey Gifford U.S. Growth Trust and Edinburgh Worldwide Investment Trust, derailing a deal that would offer shareholders a 40% cash exit and create a larger U.S.-focused vehicle. Saba, which owns 28% of U.S. Growth Trust and 25% of EWIT, has been in a month-long standoff with the boards after earlier takeover bids were rejected by more than 98% of investors. Founder Boris Weinstein argued the UK investment trusts are underperforming and need consolidation, buybacks, and exposure to private assets. The trust says Saba's campaign is self-serving and continues to block options that would benefit the wider shareholder base. EWIT says it will continue with talks with Saba in hopes of reviving the merger. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. Please do stay with us, because when we return, we'll have your recap on the other side of the break.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items, such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
We get it! We get the big contract! 50,000 units a month for 3 years! Great! We need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Jamaica secures massive US $6.7 billion global recovery package. Regionally, SLP election victory set stage for immediate bonus payouts and a national VAT-free day. And internationally, 10 EU banks unite to launch Euro-backed stablecoin. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rondine Williams. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.